This battle intrigued me right from team preview. We've got two extreme teams on opposite ends of the spectrum. On one hand, we've got Lopkix's fat stall team. Yeah, he's got two fast offensive Pokemon in Scarf Ditto and Zeraora, but look at his other four. That is a stall team. Plus, his fast offensive Pokemon are still defensively useful. Scarf Ditto does turn into offensive threats a lot, true, but one of its greatest strengths is also copying opposing defensive Pokemon and engaging in endless PP stall switching wars alongside Regenerator Toxapex. Plus, Zeraora has Volt Switch immunity, so it's not like he's throwing suicide leads on there. On the other hand, we've got Kickasser, who's got this searing hyper-offensive Sun team. I like Sun in Gen 8, I think it's a really interesting team style, and he's got a really, really offensive version of it. The other Sun teams I've observed have been Flaming Victinis, which goes all in on Venusaur by providing a grassy terrain as well as Sun, and Brofist, which I think is a little more representative of the style as a whole, because in addition to the staples Venusaur and Cinderace, it's also got the single most dangerous Pokemon under Sun in Specs Charizard. And if you are unfamiliar with the power of a Solar Power Specs Zard, well, just look at this turn where it cleanly 2-hit KOs a Toxapex with Weather Ball. I say 2-hit KO because it would have had it not crit. And that's a 100 base power move. It's not even spamming Overheat or anything. So, and if you need more, then here it is. KOing a half health Blissey, again with Weather Ball. So, yeah, it is monstrous. And Kickasser takes it up a notch because his team has yet another threat in Volcarona. You'll notice that these two teams both have Blissey for the Special Sponge and Teleport to get threats in safely. Kickasser is going even further. He's throwing Volk on that team. Volk is already a massive problem in Sword and Shield, and in Sun it's even more dangerous. So I don't know if this is Kick's team or if it's someone else's. I think some people were saying while this game was going on that this team was used on the ladder. I don't know anything about that. I just really like the idea of foregoing more support in favor of offense. I think with extreme kinds of offense, like Weather or Trick Room, or in Gen 5, Drag Mag, then sometimes you get too focused on supporting the offense as opposed to focusing on the strengths of the offense, which is it's so strong that it doesn't care about the other Pokemon or hazards or anything. It's just going to blast holes regardless. Like in Black and White, then I think Drag Mag teams with Starmie are not that good, because when you go from 4 dragons to 3, then you lose a lot of wall breaking power and you start struggling with things you shouldn't, like Rotom Wash. And sometimes you're almost at the finish line, but you don't have enough power to throw at the opponent and you just run out of steam. So with Kickasser's team, then you don't have this because, yeah, Cinderace and Charizard might run out of steam, but whoops, here's a third scary offensive fire type. So I really enjoy that choice in making this team as dangerous as possible. Of course, you got the staple in Venusaur, and then you have Xatu. Now, when you have Charizard, then you want a little more than just Torkoal's Rapid Spin for anti-Stealth Rock support. Now, Flaming Victini's team had Hatterene, Brofist's team had Defog Corviknight, and I like the choice of Xatu here because it combines Magic Bounce from Hatterene with the switch move of Corviknight. And Corviknight uses U-Turn, of course, and Xatu takes it one step further and uses U-Turn. So, Teleport. Oh, not U-Turn. So, it's a really interesting matchup, and this is the kind of place where Lopkix really enjoys having the fast offensive measures, because against super strong teams like this, you're not going to be able to wall everything. I mean, look at Lopkix's team. What switches into Specs, Weather Ball, Charizard? Nothing, because he's got Blissey, Toxapex, and everything else gets clean O-code. So, as you saw from the Brofist versus Malekith game, so he's going to need to out-offense Kickasser with his Ditto and his Zeraora. This kind of tactic has been used on even full stall teams for generations. I mean, you can go as far back as Gen 3 if you want, where you think of stuff like Aerodactyl and Dugtrio, and even if you don't consider that full stall necessarily, then go to Gen 4 and the Scarf Tar it spawned, and how that was a staple on so many teams for so many generations. So, and that's the kind of idea that he has here with the Zeraora and the Ditto. And that, yeah, he's got a great walling core, but he's not going to be able to wall everything. The threats are just too strong. He's going to have to throw offense back at them. So it makes for a really interesting dynamic. And that is why I like this game so much just to begin with. And of course, these two guys are great, great players. And the fact that they were matched up in the semis of World Cup with both of their names centering around kicking was pretty funny. But yeah, that's the preview. So let's get into the battle itself. So leads Torkoal and Toxapex. Now, Stealth Rock from Torkoal seems pretty free, but at the same time, it doesn't really get him anywhere, because sure, it'll break Skarm's Sturdy if it's running Rocky Helmet over Boots, but it's not going to do anything to Clef. Blissey often runs Boots. Is it going to be a big deal against Toxapex? I don't think so. It's not going to cut into Ditto's health. It's not going to cut into Ditto's health enough to make it much of a big deal. It already struggles to switch in, and Ditto is not going to die to Stealth Rock switch-ins before Kickaster's team runs out of steam, because Lopkix's Ditto is threatening a KO on Kickaster's team every time it comes in. I mean, if Lopkix's team can't switch into Specs, Charizard, and Sun, Kickaster's definitely can. So, it's not too much of a big deal, and Zeraora probably not going to make much of a difference anyway. Sometimes it runs Boots, sometimes it runs Lefties. I mean, even if it doesn't run either, then it's not going to be a big enough deal. And the main reason why Torkoal doesn't want to go for rocks here is because it does not want to get knocked off and lose its Heat Rock. Because the longer the sun stays up, the longer Kickaster is in a position to really threaten the opponent. So, question is, what's coming in? You know, none of these guys really love coming in besides Xatu. And, you know, Xatu probably won't really need its boots in this game. It just exists to slow teleport into things like Spec-Zard and Volcarona and Cinderace and Venusaur. So, yeah, 4 massive threats. You know, this is why I like the team so much. 4 threats, 2 support. That's enough. That's the right balance, I think, for extreme kinds of offense like this. And Lopkix has struck a great balance, too, with his super fat core and his offensive countermeasures to the wall breakers that would break through that core. So Torkoal is going to get out of there, go to Xatu. Lopkix does go for knockoff and doesn't remove Boots or Rocky Helmet or anything, but removes a Choice Scarf. So that's what makes me like this team even more, that the Xatu cripples the opposing walls. You know, no Boots, no Lefties, no whatever, because it can Trick. And even without a Choice Scarf, it can still be useful with Trick because it's going to remove the opponent's item. So, you know, Skarmory comes in. That was the right choice, because Skarmory against a Sun team is as useless as you get, so may as well switch it into the one thing that it's not deathly afraid of. So that was the right choice for a Trick Absorber. Xatu can still Trick Helmet onto something else. Like if it removes Ditto's Choice Scarf somehow, that would be great, but that's probably not going to happen. Instead, it's going to be teleporting into the threats now. Now, we don't know who the rocker is, whether it's Skarmory, Clefable, or Blissey yet, but he's not getting up rocks in the face of Xatu, meaning that this teleport is extremely safe. So Lopkix goes back to Toxapex, here comes the teleport, and here comes the Venusaur, ready to growth up and destroy everything. I mean, even if Toxapex hazes, then it's not getting anything done, and yeah, it's not a very winning situation here. So Xatu can even threaten to trick the helmet onto Toxapex to remove its Black Sludge, and that could be, you know, crucial. And if it's trying to stave off Cinderace by the skin of its teeth, or Volk or Venusaur, although I think Volk is going to be handled by Blissey, but we don't know what set the Volk is yet. And plus, Volk is so strong, especially under Sun, that that might be the tipping factor that makes Blissey go from barely able to handle it to, oh god, it's killing me. Anyway, the clear move is to, well, I don't know if it's clear. You know, he might just go for an attack here. I don't think anything else on Lopkix's team really handles Venusaur. It's basically because Blissey loses to growth and Giga Drain's healing off its seismic tosses, so it's really a very uphill battle here. So he stays in, burning it would help. Knocking off its Life Orb helps a lot too, because while it no longer takes recoil, it's also a lot less strong, but he's still a +2 Venusaur. And what's he going to fire off? The Giga Drain? No, he fires off a Solar Beam, and everyone's like, uh-oh, that's not good news, because now the Venusaur can't heal. So, now Xatu comes in, threatening to perhaps remove the Blissey's heavy-duty boots. And if he does threaten to remove those boots, then the Blissey's actually kind of in trouble, because that means Torkoal can get up rocks unopposed. and then the boots would actually do something. Because Rocky Helmet on Blissey won't help it at all, but boots are helping it, are preventing it from getting worn down and put into range of danger against Volcarona. So that was a great move by Kickaster. He's threatening it the right way, not trying to make too much happen with Cinderace right away against a healthy team. So threatening with Xatu is definitely the right call. So in comes Toxapex again, risk-free, teleport again, in comes Torkoal. So now he's deciding he's going to... No, he's not going to risk the Stealth Rock and not lose his Heat Rock. And now, matter of fact, that was a great move from Kickaster because now he gets to set up the Sun again as opposed to trying to make things work with the dying turns of Sun. And he removes his own Rocky Helmet, which is nice because now he's threatening to trick nothing away instead of tricking a Rocky Helmet away. So really nice move. I really like that. Unfortunately, he's forced to rest, and Lopkix gets Zeraora in. Shiny, good call. And like we said earlier, then Kickaster does not have a Volt Switch immunity, so he's got to be really careful about the Zeraora. I mean, he's got a lot of offense, but not so great on defense, which of course is natural with this kind of team. That's just going to be the case, that you're not going to be able to switch into things too well. But he's got to start making more happen, or he's going to get overwhelmed by the Zera. And he eats a weakened knockoff because he already lost his item, and he goes to, and he Volt Switches out for free chip, and goes to Skarmory. Venusaur cannot hurt Skarmory outside of Sun because Weather Ball does nothing. And he shows Giga Drain, so Growth, Solar Beam, and Giga Drain. I like that set, that's really cool. I mean, giving up on one of Sludge Bomb or Weather Ball kind of sucks. I have to imagine it's not Weather Ball. Getting walled by Ferrothorn would be really stupid. So losing Sludge Bomb, you know, that's not the worst thing in the world. Especially because Weather Ball is powered up by Sun, so, and you're still slicing through Clef. So Lopkix makes a very aggressive move, and then Kickaster makes an even more aggressive move. So I really like the thought process by both players. So Lopkix is trying to put pressure on Kickaster and not let him get his offense going. And Kickaster reads that beautifully, not letting himself fall behind because he knows he can't switch into Zeraora. Skarmory doesn't want Torkoal or Charizard or Volcarona coming in for free, so he tries to go back to Zeraora, and he lands a nice Giga Drain on it, healing up Venusaur. So that was a great move. I like the moves by both players, and really well done to Kickaster in particular, because, I mean, it's not easy to Giga Drain a Skarmory, but it worked out really nicely. Now his Venusaur's healthy, and he's not threatened with Zeraora death. So that was a really great move. He said, you know, if Zeraora comes in again, then I'm going to have to sack something to it, because Torkoal switching into it is not really nice, especially because it's going to lose its Heat Rock. So that was a great move, especially because Skarmory's not so threatening, and he gets a benefit from it. Now he's forced to stay in, and Lopkix is going to Volt Switch again, chip it, but he's going to Giga Drain again and get a nice chunk of health back, starting out with more health than he began the turn with, or ending the turn with more health than he started out with, because he drains a little bit of HP from Blissey. So what's the move? Is he going to go to Xatu, threaten the trick, or go to Cinderace, Torkoal? Is he going to Growth Up? What? He goes to Torkoal. He's like, this is a risk-free place to get the rocks up. And he eats a Seismic Toss, that's fine. And he's going to get the rocks. Good enough. So now he'll find out what the Zeraora set is, and here comes Cinderace in Sun. Now, Toxapex will not enjoy a Zen Headbutt, and Pyro Ball destroys everything else. So what's it going to be? He's going to pivot to Toxapex, because even if he eats a Zen Headbutt, that's not the end of the world. And Kickaster doesn't Pyro Ball or Zen Headbutt. He keeps up the momentum with U-Turn. And he eats his he eats Rocky Helmet, which was tricked. Yeah, he eats the Skarm's Rocky Helmet, which was then tricked onto the Pex. Or was it? No, it wasn't. We did not... No, it was always Rocky Helmet Pex, I'm sorry. So he doesn't have to... now is to be wary of that, but he also knows that the Pex will not have... will not have Black Sludge, so he doesn't have to worry about it getting out of range. So now he goes into Charizard, and there's little more beautiful than sending a fire type into one of the bulkiest water types in existence with the intention to click a fire move, knowing that everything is going to evaporate. So Kickaster is claiming the first kill of the game here. Let's fire up the handy dandy damage calc and see just how much it does. Now, I wish Charizard could viably run Modest, but unfortunately that is not the case, because then it would be outsped by Urshifu, regardless, let's take a look at some of the damage. This is not the set that is used. That is Choice Specs, and it has Weather Ball and Overheat, and I think the last is Focus Blast or Fire Blast, I don't know. But in Sun, then it goes from, look at this difference, from, barely scratching it to, yeah, good lord, look at that Overheat. I mean, even if you run the SPDF investment that Finch gave me on that team, then, still, 73 minimum from Overheat. Weather Ball just slicing right through it, especially because it doesn't have Black Sludge, so it's not like he can, even if he's predicting Weather Ball, he can stay in and stall it out safely. He's going to be taking a ton of damage. And there's a lot of Sun left, because while Charizard does take Solar Power, this kind of team plays fast, and it's going to be getting kills before it gets worn down by Solar Power. So Toxapex is pretty much near guaranteed to die to Overheat, so Lopkix has to pick one here, and he goes for Baneful Bunker. Underrated Peck's move can be really irritating, and he does stall out a Sun turn, but there are still several more. He gets a little bit of chip on Charizard, not sure how much is going to matter, and Clefable just drops. So 6-5, but here comes Zeraora. And, oh no, sorry, here comes Blissey. I thought that he would try to pressure with Zeraora, because Venusaur is weakened, but he's going to go to Blissey instead. What's he going to do, pop up the rocks? Well, he can't really because of Xatu. It's what's so nice about Xatu here. It's that it has the recovery and switch moves. It has recovery and switch moves, and it bounces back hazards all in one, like a wonderful mix of Hatterene and Corviknight. So, yeah, really, I guess maybe it's not a... I've only watched this game live once for maximum impact for commentary and excitement, especially for those who do not know the result of the game already, which I hope is most of you viewers. Anyway, so I guess that could tell us that the Zeraora is not Boots, and he doesn't want it taking Rocks damage, and instead he just goes to Blissey, which does reveal itself to be Boots, as it does not take Stealth Rock damage. In comes Xatu, preventing any rocks, threatening to trick nothing onto the Blissey and remove its Boots, and he nails it. He does not, I mean, I suppose that was fairly risk-free, because worst case, he just trades nothing with Skarmory, who is not a threat at all, and matter of fact, lets him reset the sun fairly easily. Now he has Boots, which is pretty irrelevant for the Xatu, but he is able to cripple the Blissey, and now next time Blissey will be taking Stealth Rock damage, and that is huge when trying to stave off the big three, Venusaur, Charizard, Volcarona. Let's take a look at Charizard's damage versus Blissey in Sun. Yikes. Weather Ball, clean to a KO. Overheat, 68 to 80. Goodness. So next time Blissey comes in, it's at 74, so very good chance to die outright from Overheat. So, and he's got the slow teleport. Now he's going to Roost here because he wants to keep it healthy. But no, he doesn't Roost. Does he even have Roost? No, he has it. And he slow teleports into Torkoal, gets the sun back up, and now he goes to Cinderace. And while Kickaster's team is getting worn down, Xatu weakened, Cinderace weakened, he's still putting a lot of pressure on. So what's the move here? Is he gonna double to Volk? There it is. He's not letting Pex come in for free. And Volk is a massive, massive threat, especially because it's we don't know what the Pex's set is, but it's almost certain it's going to have Recover and Scald. So almost definitely not Toxic, and almost definitely not Haze. So Volk looks scot-free. I mean, he doesn't even mind if he gets his boots knocked off, because that's a second dance, and that just might run away with the game. Then again, Ditto will have to deal with... There's always Ditto, but it's harder to check Volk because it boosts its own SPDF. And that said, if he takes damage, then he doesn't want to get reverse swept by his own Volk, unless he got Sucker Punch Cinderace, a move which personally I swear by, and would actually be huge in this matchup for not letting Cinderace get revenged by Zeraora, if it comes to that, of course, because most of the time it's getting walled by Pex. So, yeah, I wasn't sure about the non-Roost there. I think he was predicting Zeraora on the Roost, and wanted to keep momentum against it, so that was a good idea, and Lopkicks just made a nice move, just staying in. He said, no matter what comes in, it's getting worn down here. He recognized that Seismic Toss actually does a lot of damage to everything on Kickasser's team. So, good move there. Xatu's weakened. He's going to have to sack to get it in. Torkoal's weakened. Cinderace is weakened. So, he's on a timer against the Bliss. Nothing that can't be undone, necessarily. He's not going to be doomed because of it. But he is going to have to sacrifice or play carefully around it. Anyway, right now the big question is how he's going to deal with Volk. So, it's going for a dance, almost surely. Blissey comes in, takes rocks. There are a lot of turns of Sun left. He's not dancing, and Fire Blast is going to clean 2 KO it because he's not just Volcarona, he's Life Orb Volcarona. And look at that damage. And he decides, no, I can't let Blissey die necessarily. Sun, he loses a Sun turn because of... Okay. All these remixes are from Vetron, by the way. And he loses turn of Sun, but Skarmory is still going to drop. And yikes. So now he's going to have to Ditto and send it and Volk himself. So now the question is, who's he going to sack? This sack is Xatu. And yeah, so now who's his answer? Is it Charizard? Charizard, so now here's where we're getting into constant sack territory, as Blissey's at 34 before rocks. The rocks are staying. And so it's pretty much at 22%. After rocks, and Kickasser is up 5-4, so, and he's in a position to get another KO here, so the question is, how can he handle it? Because let's calc Volcarona without the Life Orb, because I believe that's, I'm not an expert on how Ditto is calced, but against Charizard and Sun, then Charizard is at 63, maybe a little lower. Let's say that it's an absolute, 6% max roll for Fire Blast to KO. Not to mention, accuracy, and, obviously you can crit too, but the odds are very, very much in Kickasser's favor to live this Fire Blast, assuming Life Orb is not copied. So, he is forced to sack his Blissey, so now Kickasser is up 5-3, and the thing is with solar power that he does not take more damage, so he's able, if in theory he would be able to sack Charizard, sack Torkoal, get up the Sun one more time, and still be out of range for the Volcarona. Still be out of range of the Ditto Volcarona, sorry. So he can live one more Fire Blast and then trade again with Lopkicks and bring the score even further, and then he would actually, after one more turn of solar power, then he is definitely in Fire Blast, Ditto Volcarona Fire Blast range, but he would get another KO before that happened. So now, of course, the question is, how does he deal with a Venusaur? So the big question is, if he can get Venusaur in and set it up, it seems pretty... I mean, look, there's still Ditto. That's always the problem with Ditto. You can get reverse swept by it. But he can run it out of Sun, and then... actually, he doesn't even need Sun for Venusaur to be a threat, so he doesn't even need to do that. And Cinderace looks like a pretty good sack here. So, no, he goes right to Venusaur and eats Plasma Fist. And I don't know if I agree with that because... Whoops, didn't mean to fast forward there. So I think Cinderace definitely could have been sacked there, as his other Pokemon are just too crucial. So now Venusaur is 2 KO'd, and if Venusaur came in for free, then it was really, really dangerous. And almost threatened to win the game, honestly. So, I don't know, that might have been a way. He can also go to Torkoal and, go for a burn. Weaken the Zeraora a little, because I don't think it takes a Lava Plume. It definitely doesn't KO Torkoal, and I don't know what set he's running on Torkoal. I've seen rest Torkoal a couple times, so I don't know if he wanted to rest stall the opposing team, which I think actually would have been fairly feasible, but... yeah, he's got... Yeah, Plasma Fist doesn't do anything. Lava Plume actually threatens to KO Zeraora from there, and it is Boots, in fact. We see it not taking rocks damage. So, Venusaur now has to switch out or it just dies. So now he goes to Torkoal. He's going to get the Sun Up. And, Torkoal's got to die. And is he going to sack it or go to Cinderace? Nope, he's going to sack Torkoal. So now it's to Volk. And you see Zero goes for Plasma Fist because he has no other choice. And for Volcarona, he Plasma Fist does... Oh, that's Magnet Plasma Fists. I don't think he's that. He's Boots, so we know he's not that. Plasma Fist does 67.5 to 79.4. So he's at 81. Now, I don't know if he's Adamant Zero Aura or something. I guess he might have been because he's out of range. Because this Volcarona just drops. We know he's not boosted by that, and since... the Volcarona, I don't know if he has like 29 HP IVs. I mean, I guess that's also... No, it's not, because he's at 81. Even if that rounds all the way down, he's at 80% at lowest, and this does 79.9 max. So, I guess we're just dealing with an Adamant Zero Aura here, so cool choice. I mean, Zero Aura is still lightning fast, even if it's... you go from a... It's still a roll, but, it's a lot... It's actually a roll now. Not a perfect one, but it's still there. And it still outspeeds modest Dragapult, I guess, which I think is the standard now. So that was in case of Adamant. I don't know. I don't know. I guess if you thought the kill was guaranteed, it was worth it. But I don't know. I felt Venusaur was a good choice there, especially because he's forced to go to it now, and he goes to Toxapex and eats a Solar Beam. Now he's going to try and he Baneful Bunkers because. The growth doesn't matter at this point. Matter of fact, he would even appreciate the growth because he's going to try to Ditto after. Sun will run out, but there's still several turns left. He doesn't try to Baneful Bunker. He wants all the Sun he can get so he can Ditto it himself. Now here comes the Ditto. And so great move on Lop Kicks. And he goes for the Weather Ball and drops it. So now Charizard is going to live a Weather Ball for sure. And he's going to come back, and Zero Aura is going to get dropped, and he's going to try and win the game with a Dittoed Charizard. So I mean, unless he's got Sucker Punch Cinderace, then it looks like he's going to be winning the game with it. So here comes Ditto again. And now the question is, there's one turn of Sun left. Does he switch out and try and win the game that way? So... let's take a look at the calc. So Ditto, remember Ditto retains its HP stat, so it's not going to be taking the hits that well. So Charizard versus Charizard with Overheat. I mean, because he has to go for, Lopkicks can't go for Overheat himself because he cannot, because then he'll be too weak to actually kill the Charizard. So he has to go for Weather Ball or Flamethrower. Actually, Flamethrower definitely. Flamethrower will definitely not kill Kickasser's Charizard, and matter of fact, it won't even... It will 2 KO unless it gets like 2 mega low rolls. Basically 2 super low chances. And as for Overheat, that will also not KO against regular Charizard, but we got to take into account Ditto bulk. So Ditto's, we're going to keep Charizard's defense stats, or special defense, which is 85, and add it to Ditto's HP stat. And this is against 86 HP Ditto. So it's still not looking so good from 63. So it's because he doesn't have Blaze, because he has Solar Power, of course. So it's a tough call, and if he has Sucker Punch Cinderace, then it's not even a question. But he also copies Solar Power, but even after Solar Power, it won't be enough. So Weather Ball is... I don't know if that's going to be enough. I don't think it is. Definitely not. So what is the move here? I guess it really... Because if Cinderace just dies, then the move would definitely be to... Because in Sun, then Charizard will KO, Scarf Zard will KO other Zard for sure here, because Flamethrower is 100% KOing, so it's pretty much switch to Cinderace and hope you can KO, hope you get a crit with your own Charizard while not getting crit, or while getting the double minimum roll against the Ditto. I don't know if I did my Ditto calcs wrong. If I did, please let me know in the comments. But I think that's definitely that's definitely the right choice. So, but he lets Charizard go, and Cinderace comes in, and it seems like it's game, but it's faster, and he uses Electro Ball, and it doesn't kill, and dies, and Lopunny Kicks wins. So a lot to unpack just there at the very end. He was using a Scarf Cinderace with Libero. Cinderace, so he outsped the Scarf Ditto, which was copying Charizard, and so we're going to go to... And I think Electro Ball, as far as I understand it, is as good as... works the faster you are than your opponent, and Cinderace is already pretty fast and is already faster than Charizard, but Scarf Ditto is also pretty fast, so he's not that much faster. And the problem is also that Electro Ball is a special move, so, and Cinderace does not have a very good special attack stat, so he comes up short. I mean, that was better, knowing that he was Scarf Cinderace, he had better odds than trying to... It also explains perhaps why he wasn't trying to break through the Pex, although I like the U-turn even if he wasn't that set. So, if he was adamant with Sucker Punch, he had a chance. I really love Sucker Punch Cinderace. I would never go without it. He definitely had a chance. So, yeah, really close game. I think Kickaster should have had it. Now, I mean, it's easy for me to say this, but the pressure of late stages of World Cup is nothing to sneeze at. So, you know, everyone makes mistakes all the time, especially under pressure. But, you know, if we're going to analyze it, then yeah, and he should have won this game. He had the advantage, and he just let himself fall behind with the old Venusaur switch and then the Volcarona sack, which, in fairness, is hard to fault him for, although maybe he could have calced against Venusaur to see if there was something going on, because those Plasma Fists did a lot. I mean, yeah, actually, he was revealed to be adamant from when he used Plasma Fists against Venusaur, because, as we're going to see in a second, the Venusaur takes 36%, and as you see from the calc here, only Adamant Zeraora can do that much. I mean, Magnet Zeraora can do that much too, which would also take out Volk most of the time, but he wasn't because he was Boots. So the answer was he was Adamant. So he didn't have a lot of time on his timer because he was thinking real hard, so he couldn't calc that much, and that's also a danger of this kind of high stakes Pokemon. But regardless of the mistakes, yeah, he probably should have wrapped it up, but regardless of the mistakes, I really enjoyed this battle. I really enjoyed the way the teams matched up. I enjoyed the sheer strength of Sun blasting through one of the bulkiest teams you could ask for, and I enjoyed Lopkix's offensive counterattacks to come back against such a screamingly fast, powerful offensive team. And, you know, despite some errors that may have been made, I was very entertained. This was a great game from some great players, great teams, and you can't really ask for much more than that. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something from it, because there's a lot to learn from this kind of game, I believe. From, you know, positioning yourself the right way, from handling your pokes the right way, from valuing your pokes the right way, I should say, and from wrapping up the game safely. So yeah, I think even if he didn't know that the Zero was adamant, then the Venusaur switch was a little hasty. But I'm sure he knows that too. And, you know, the best players make mistakes all the time. So, nothing to be ashamed of. Close game, great players, great teams, and overall, a great experience. So, thank you to both these guys for this awesome game. I really enjoyed it. Usually I don't watch Sword and Shield tournament games. Nothing against. I have all the respect in the world for the players and their talent and success. It's just a metagame that doesn't interest me most of the time. Just like a lot of other people don't have interest in watching GSC, and that's fair. But just like GSC's not for them, then Sword and Shield usually isn't for me. But this, I really like this game. So, despite the things that should have gone a different way, then I was thoroughly entertained. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Hope you took something from it, and leave any comments with any thoughts you may have about anything. So I will catch you next time.